So in the city of Newark, local residents hold 18% of all jobs. 18%, and I see folks reacting in the audience. And in this respect, Newark is really an outlier. In the city of Baltimore, local residents hold 33% of jobs in the city. In the city of New Orleans, local residents hold 45% of jobs in the city. But in Newark, local residents hold just 18% of the jobs. And there's interesting reactions to that number. And if folks get honest, sometimes think, well, the reason why the number is so low is because local residents either don't want to work or are unqualified to work. And so we authored a report. My colleague Demel Zubair, who leads our economic justice work, authored a really powerful report which is available to folks here. And she looked at who works in the city, so what the qualifications are, and then who doesn't work. And that's how we happened upon this 18% number. But what we found was very fascinating. One is that local residents in Newark have a higher labor force participation rate, not only than New Jersey, but higher than the national average, indicating a willingness to work in the city. And for the majority of those local residents who work, they travel more than an hour to and from their places of employment. The third piece we realize is that you often hear people say, well, the reason the number is so low is because a good number of local residents in just fill in the blank city have criminal convictions. What we found is that local residents in Newark have about the same incidence of criminal convictions as most other cities indeed across the country. And then we thought, well, maybe it's because the majority of those who work in the city of Newark have college degrees. And to Deborah's point, maybe it is that educational access is a challenge for local residents. And I won't say that it isn't, because indeed it is. But in the city of Newark, only 1/3 of those who work in the city have a college degree. And that's consistent with the national trend. And so what we learned, and this is not revelation knowledge to the expert panelists here or the experts in the room who joined us today, is that the reason why the percentage of local residents who work in the city of Newark is so low, the reason why we've made very little progress, to Don's point, in the last 50 years, is because there really is a system that has been designed to produce the kind of results we see. And I'll just close very quickly by saying, even the way we approach a conversation about employment is colored by race, no pun intended. So when we approach a conversation about race, for example, in the Rust Belt, in states like Pennsylvania, or West Virginia, or Ohio, people there are unemployed, we say, because the industry that they were formerly employed in has dried up. It presupposes a desire to work. And the reason that folks are unemployed is because the thing they did no longer exists. In those communities, we don't dig into incidences of criminal convictions or college attainment or high rates of teenage pregnancy or drug use. But when we approach conversations about unemployment or employment in our cities, we do this interesting thing. One is that we create an exacting standard for employment. We say employment in the future is going very specialized. And to compete for employment in the future, you will need to have significant degrees and expertise and a skill set. And then we look at the hardest to employ person in fill in the blank city, and we say, well, this person is struggling with a host of challenges. And then we do this very interesting thing, which I think is a function of race. We make employment seem impossible in our urban centers. But the reality is that in cities like Newark, as cities in DC and cities across the country, there is a spectrum of employable folks. There are folks in the city of Newark who right now are ready to work, and if connected to an opportunity to work, could start tomorrow. There are also folks on the other end of the spectrum for whom significant workforce training would be necessary. But I think even that conversation around the spectrum of employability is absent when we talk about employment in many of our urban centers.